Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Bart Tompkins. Bart, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You're definitely welcome, man. Looking forward to chopping it up with you. The first question that I have for you, Bart, is who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
Flex Lewis is probably gotta be the favorite of all time for sure. Just because I'm short, 212. That's about the only way things are gonna happen for me. So, and plus it's just his physique was just unbelievable to watch. I got to watch about the last 3 years of it because I didn't know what bodybuilding was until 2017.
Okay, cool. Are there any guys that are kind of currently like 212 pros or open guys or even classic that you really like again currently?
Nathan Epler's one of my favorites for sure. Dean White, who Ben Chow coaches, he's coming up and he's a really good bodybuilder. He's a threat to the Olympian top 5 for sure. I mean, Derek Lunsford definitely was one that I looked up to too, but now, he's going open. So, I think he'll have even better opportunities there.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay. So tell us, Bart, at what age did you start lifting weights? And then why did you start lifting weights at that specific age?
So I didn't start lifting weights until January 2017. And I started because I was just trying to lose weight because I was actually very overweight. I was about 260 pounds, 5'5", which is like almost probably diabetic. And I'd gotten out of like a bad relationship. And I was like, man, I just want to get in shape because I was playing football at the time in high school. And then I ended up losing 100 pounds in 8 months and doing a bodybuilding show.
Okay. Cool, man. That's definitely unique compared to most guests. Now, before we'll kind of get into that transformation here in a little bit, but talk to us a little bit, Bart, about like your childhood, your upbringing. Where did you grow up? Talk about sports that you played, family dynamics. Just touch on that for a little bit, okay?
So I grew up majority in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is like where Elvis is from. His hometown, got his little birthplace there. Family upbringing was good until about 14. I ended up 14, 15, somewhere in there. I ended up going and living with my mom, and then she got remarried. And so she had remarried someone that ended up being a drunk, abusive stepfather. So that really set in and made me grow up a lot faster, which in the end paid off so much more just because of the opportunities I've been giving and being mature early. I've honestly loved it. I've missed out on a lot of like kid things, but I mean, it's been fun to know that I've been working since I was 15, was paying bills at 15, doing things like that. So I would say from 15 to 18 until I got out of the house it was rough for most. And it's obviously rough for most kids that go through that, but I just took all the positives out of it. And I was like, well, that's just not what I'm going to be like. I mean, because in the end, you don't want to follow whatever bad, negative things you're taught at home going forward. But I mean, it was a blessing in disguise, honestly, because I would not be who I am today without that.
So I think you mentioned playing football. So did you play some other sports? Was sports kind of an escape or an outlet for you during those years?
So to be honest with you, the outlet during those years, I did play football and I played soccer before football played soccer from probably about 10 years old till I was 13. But then when I moved in with my mom, the school didn't have soccer. So I ended up being a kicker at Shannon High School, which is like a small town outside of Tupelo. Nobody probably would know what it is, but I ended up kicking there, kicked all the way till my senior year, like 3 games in. And then I had a few college offers. The coach I had, I didn't really enjoy it as much. Kind of ruined it for me. And then that was about the same time frame. I was like, all right, I'm doing a bodybuilding show. But the outlet mainly for that home life I was actually like from 13 up, I was partying and drinking already. I did those stages super early as well. So that kind of like set me up for where I got it out of the way. Wasn't the best thing to do at 13 and up, but I mean, that was the outlet and it got out of my system at least before college.
Now, how did you get, how did you get exposed to alcohol and kind of partying and stuff at that young of an age? I mean, that's pretty young to start.
Yeah.
I mean, was it the group of kids that you were hanging out with? Is that just kind of life in your small town? Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, the small town I was in, it was pretty much, I mean, there wasn't that many kids. I always hung out with people that were like 3, 4, and 5 years older than me. So when I was 13, I was hanging out with seniors, juniors, sophomores. I wasn't anywhere near with my age group. And I think I shifted towards that because of the home life. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go live with a bunch of friends that have cars and stuff that can get me out of here and I can go do stuff with them. And I think I just ended up shifting towards that group of people that were partying nonstop.
Okay. So I guess during those teenage years, Bart, did you have any thoughts of kind of like what you wanted to do with your life after high school? Because I'm from a very small town in Iowa, and sometimes you kind of get trapped in small towns and you don't necessarily have or find people that have like those big goals or those big aspirations or those big dreams. And a lot of people from my hometown, I'm sure it's like that for your hometown. They just kind of like, they graduate high school, they might go to college. A lot of people don't. A lot of people never leave the hometown and they kind of just, they just kind of live normal lives. So did you have thoughts about what you wanted to do with your life when you were younger or not?
So really, no, I just knew I wanted to get out of there and out of Mississippi in general. You were right. Everything you just said was exactly how small town was. Everybody was going to one specific community college or 2 specific colleges. And so everybody was either going to do that or they were going to go work in a factory or right out of high school or things like that. It was everybody just stuck in their ways over there. There's not really, you see some people get out and go do some really big things and go. And I mean, people that want to stay there, that's for them. I mean, hey, if they love it, that's all that matters. But yeah, I mean, from the time I went through all that upbringing and home, the abuse and everything, man, it was just like I was going to get out of there. That was the only thing I knew I was going to do at some point in my life.
Now, okay, I want to touch on this and then we'll kind of leave it behind. But having a home environment that, to say the least, wasn't ideal and abuse and somebody that's a drunk and things like that. I mean, and obviously, how old are you right now?
So I'm 24. I just turned 24 in September.
Okay, so you're very, very young. But what back on those years, Bart? Do you feel like you said overall, you feel like those years really helped you out and they helped you mature? But do you feel like those years with the abuse and the non-ideal home environment did it leave some hurt, some scars? Have you been able to kind of think about that and work through some of that stuff at your age right now?
So honestly, we could go on about this forever. Like I'm an open book with all this stuff of the home life, just because like I want to show people so that way, because I mean, it's a common thing to have an abusive home life and things like that nowadays, or divorced parents and things like that. So yeah, I'm always open about it. But I mean, the thing is, like, I never had any negative thoughts or anything like that. Pretty much it came down to, I was the type of person, I was so driven from a young age with sports and things like that. Like when I was in soccer, when I was in football, I want to be the best I can be. So having that hard work, like dedication, being at practices for 8 hours a day on weekends and stuff like that, that drive to just be better, I was able to take all that abuse and like anything that had happened. I mean, I just took it and put it behind me. I never had anything like regrets or like any thoughts. Like it never ate me up inside. Like I literally was just able to look at it, be like, that's my mom's life. She wants that. She can have that. But when I get where I can get out, I'm getting out. And I mean, that's all I got to do is I just got to get through high school. And I get out and literally just you can't let it bring you down. I know a lot of people end up going through therapy after things like that. My dad actually is like, he's like the biggest part in my life right now, and he has been since then. He actually had me go like one time just to see, he wanted to make sure like I was good as a person and inside and out. And I went to the therapist and she was like, you're fine. She's like, you're just somebody that's driven and just going to go through it and not worry about it. I've never had, even to this day, like I can say I never think about it. I mean, I've never been like, hey, I wish that never happened, because like everything that happened, it literally made me who I am. And it made me be able to do all the things I've done since high school, which has been, it's been a roller coaster since high school.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, that's great to hear. And I'm sure that'll be encouraging to some of the people listening and watching this. Cause like you said, there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of things, and we all have struggles in life for sure. So now, let's get into this weight loss transformation. So you said that you lost like around 100 pounds. Now, were you like obese or overweight like as a kid and then as a teenager, or did this happen later on towards the end of high school?
To be honest with you, as a kid, up until about probably 9-10 years old, I was probably a super skinny kid, not really overweight, just like average. But then as like going into my years and like going through middle school and things like that, I was getting heavier. I never noticed it. I had a grandfather that like used to, like, he was very Church of Christ, straightforward, like he's just different. And he would always be the one to be like, you're fat, like you need to lose weight. Like he would call me that all the time growing up, which in that age, like it hurt hearing that, but like in the end, it's like I did need to lose some weight by the time I hit, where I was, but it just kind of progressively happened over time. And then when I was, 2017, I would have been right at like turning 18. So right at 17, I was in a relationship where playing football, I'd get home from football games on Friday nights, I'd eat a whole pizza and have to go to work. Because at that point, I was working 2 jobs, playing football full time and helping pay bills at the house for my mom. So I had no time to do anything. I literally would go to McDonald's every day, things like that, and pretty much just eating like somebody would that gets obese. And it caught up with me. And when it did, I was in a relationship that was very stressful. The relationship I was in, I was actually like, I would stay at the girl's house on the weekend just to get away from the home life. But the family there, like all we would do was eat. And so it added up over time. And then whenever I got out of that relationship, I was like, man, this isn't good. Like I didn't go to the doctor and find out how close I was, but I guarantee you where I was. I mean, because there's transformation pictures all over my Instagram. I was really, really heavy. And I was still a kicker when I was that heavy, which is what blows my mind. So I got there and it was like, all right, this has got to go.
So talk to us about how you got rid of that weight. Talk about the day that you kind of started. What was the final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So when I decided I wanted to lose weight, I knew I'd sign up at a gym. I signed up at Premier Athletics in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is a place where it was probably the only gym at the time that like had bodybuilding feel to it. And there's this one pro in there, Jared Thompson. He's still a pro to this day. He's a classic physique, but he was the guy that signed me up that day. And I walked in and saw him and I was like, dang, like there was a lot of guys in there that like knew how to work out and stuff. So I started there. I started going to I was like, all right, I'm going to be one of those people that get up at 5 a.m. before high school and go work out. Started that routine and I continued it. And then literally I ended up coming across one of the personal trainers in the gym at the time called Adam Holt. And he owns Elevate Fitness in Tupelo, Mississippi, or used to. He just sold it. But he just gave me some tips and stuff. And the main thing he told me was, he's like, Jim Stepani had like a 8 or 12 week shred thing, I think is what it is. And so he showed me that. And then I just started like paying attention to it and like really studying it, how to do it. And then he would help give tips here and there too, to help me get the weight off. But it ended up coming down like with him and then the Jim Stepani and then just learning. Then I had another guy, Justin Pace, who kind of coached me a little bit for a little while, just helping me lose weight. And within 8 months, we ended up pulling off 100 pounds. And it wasn't until like, I think it was 6 months in, I had a friend say like, you should do a bodybuilding show. And I was just like, what's that? Like, I've never even heard of that. And so I ended up like setting a goal to do it, and we get down and do it. And it was, I didn't look, I mean, you know how most first time bodybuilders look, especially coming from overweight. Like I had abs and stuff. That was about it. But I mean, I did men's physique first time, which it's crazy to think I did men's physique now. But yeah, I got on stage, man. It was such a rewarding feeling, especially after losing all that weight and stuff. Cause I had like so much family there and so many friends. It was in my hometown because it's a little show called Total Body in Tupelo, Mississippi. And they've had a lot of big names come through there, go turn pro after. So yeah, I mean, Timmy and Judy Gillard are the promoters of it, man. They've been a huge part of my bodybuilding career too. They started me there and they've kept up with me ever since and been super supportive. But yeah, I mean, the weight got off and it was like, all right, we're doing it. Really, I just kind of like just did it. I even played a football game the night before while dehydrating for it. I had the old school coach that like did all the which it was stupid now. Like looking back, I could have had so many problems. But yeah, I mean, I kicked the night before playing a football game, went and got a spray tan after I showered after the game, and went to the show the next morning.
Now, what did the people around you, like classmates and friends and stuff like that, what did family members, what did they say when they noticed, like, let's say you lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds. I mean, you can really start seeing the change in somebody. Then what were people saying to you at that point? Did you really inspire and encourage some people around you at that point?
Honestly, the school I was at that point, my senior year, like I was so, well, it would have been like the second half of my junior year is what it would have been in 2017. I was so like, nobody really, I mean, there was people that noticed it. I don't think really most of it started coming off until the summer. I had a few compliments here and there, but then when I get back from summer, that's when everybody's like, holy crap, like you don't even look the same. And same thing with family, like they noticed it. Luckily, you know, like I said, my dad, he's my support system for bodybuilding as a whole. Mom was supportive-ish, but she was going through a lot, obviously. So I had a lot of good people around me. I had, especially at Premier Athletics, that's where I had like my core group of people that kind of like stuck by me, because Justin Pace, who did coach me for that show, him and his ex-girlfriend, I mean, his ex-girlfriend was like a mom over me, because like basically my mom, I mean, she checked out. So it's like, once I had that mother figure and like she was like super supportive. So I mean, I just had everybody around me at that point. By the time I lost all the weight and was losing it, that's the main reason why like it was just so successful and such a fun period of time going through that. It was challenging though, especially like, cause like when you're doing bodybuilding in high school, like I was hardcore, like did not go off the diet for those 8 months, didn't go out, didn't go do anything, like, and people, of course, you know how it is. They're going to ask like, why don't you go out and do this, do that? And like, man, I've got goals. Like I want to get this done. So.
Very cool, Bart. Okay. Now, so you go through this transformation, you compete for the first time, like in terms of, you know, college or career or job, like what are you doing once you graduate from high school?
So at the point when I graduate from high school, and funny thing is graduating, when I graduate, I'm literally doing my second and third show, or I'm doing my second show. I'm a week out from my second show when I graduate. Literally at this point in time, bodybuilding is all I'm thinking about. And I started personal training a little bit. Just because like I had started I just fell in love with the whole process of bodybuilding, the fitness industry as a whole, like learning the body and things like that. So I had no idea what I wanted to do out of high school. Honestly, if you'd have asked me before I started bodybuilding, I probably would have said I was going to go join the Army or the Marines or something like that, just because my stepbrother was in the Navy. So that gives me something to fall back on. But then like, by the time I started bodybuilding and I got out of high school, I was like, I want to pursue whatever I can do in fitness or in like health. I want to help people. I want to help them get in shape, especially after me going through what I went through. I'm like, heck, I would even be like a therapist at this point, because like I love the fact of helping people be their best and get through whatever they're getting through. So I ended up, after high school, I went to Northeast Community College in Boonville, Mississippi, which is a little small town nobody probably knows of either. It's about 30 minutes from Tupelo, Mississippi. And it's kind of like, it's one of those colleges that was like you had ICC or you had Northeast, like we were talking about earlier, where somebody's going somewhere. It's one of those two. So I went to Northeast because I had a girlfriend at the time that was in the band, and I went to tour Northeast with her, and we went and met the band director and everything. And I still hadn't decided I was going there. And then the band director offers me a full scholarship to go be like a band manager, where I literally just like take them water on the field and things like that. And so like, I was like, man, I can't turn this down. Paid college to go be at band stuff. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. So yeah, I mean, I went and did that, and I pursued a degree, and basically I just did exercise science. That was the only thing I knew. I was like, I mean, there's so many things you can do. I was like, maybe I'll get to figure out, maybe I'll get to shadow and figure out what I want to do. But I'm like, for now, I just got to decide something. So I just did that. And I went 2 years at Northeast. So, and then Northeast is that's where it kind of took off for me a little bit, like, especially with like personal training and bodybuilding as a whole. So like I told you, I did those 2 shows the summer after I graduated, and then I went to Northeast, and then like I started the gym there. It was like a really nice gym. Like most community colleges don't have, at least where I'm from, they don't have the best gyms, but this had a really nice gym. It had a bunch of matrix equipment. I guess the manager or the director over it, Robert Walker, he is the one who gave me my start in personal training and being a class instructor and all that. And then by the time I left Northeast, I was teaching probably upwards of like 4 or 5 classes a week. I was personal training clients in the gym. Man, I was making a lot of money and having fun and going to class and just working out, being a bodybuilder. It was a dream.
Now you got to tell me a little bit about this band scholarship, for a lack of better terminology there, Bart.
Yeah.
I mean, did you do that the entire time you were at this school, and what was that experience like? Was it kind of fun or not?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it was really fun, because like the only thing like that was a little bit difficult was like you have band camp like the week before school actually starts, where they go and like have all that. And so like literally they're out in the sun for 8-10 hours in that day. And like, luckily my band director, he was like really chill and really cool with everything, like especially because he knew I was bodybuilding. So I would literally go and work out in the middle of it, as long as I made sure they had water and what they needed. He was like, I don't care. So I mean, honestly, it was really laid back. It was honestly believe it or not, it was a really fun experience. Like, cause I met a lot of good people through there, and still to this day, those people are following me doing this, and like I'm still communicating with them. So I mean, that was probably the best overall college I could have ever gone to with all the experiences I had. But I mean, it was also, the first year was pretty lonely, because like I lived in an apartment by myself. That was what I did. I went and got out and got by myself. I didn't stay on campus. I was like, man, I got to cook food and stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it was an experience in itself with band. But I mean, yeah, I would have, if you'd have told me when I was 15, I'm gonna be in band basically because I'm a band manager, I'd have laughed at you.
Man, you can't pass that up though. I mean, you get a full ride scholarship. I mean, I'd probably do it too if that were the case.
Yeah.
So
I mean, because it was like I didn't pay a dime for college.
Nice, man. That's definitely
Yeah.
that's definitely pretty cool. Now, once you get done with school there, how did life unfold for you in terms of job and career, Bart?
The last semester of community college is when COVID hit.
Okay.
That was rough, because all I was doing was personal training. So obviously, you know how that goes. COVID pretty much nipped that quick. So no matter what, ever since I've been out of college, I've had a dad who has supported me financially, emotionally, mentally, every way possible. Supported bodybuilding to the fullest extent. He is literally the only reason I'm able to do it. So luckily he helped me out. Luckily the school found out a way for us to still get paid through the last weeks of the semester for like where we worked at the gym. So that helped out a lot. But after that, me and my best friend Ryan, we because he started living with me the second semester of college, we packed up and we went to Oxford, Mississippi, where Ole Miss is at. That was where I was like, all right, he's going there, I'm gonna go there. But literally I was just following him because I was like, I need to finish college, I guess you could say. Like, because I've always had that stuck in the back of my head from family, like, you got to finish college, you got to finish college. So I basically followed him because I was like, we'll get a house together, we'll go freaking live up there and just hang out. And he was lifting at the time, he was getting into bodybuilding, so it was your best friend dream come true. We get there, bodybuilding is very non-existent in Mississippi. I don't know if you've ever been there. So Oxford, Ole Miss, college town, party. I was like, this is not for me. So I worked at a GNC and just bodybuild the whole time. Pretty much, I never really went out. I haven't been out in a long time, since high school probably. It was interesting because Ole Miss is literally, if you don't party, you don't know people, you don't have anybody to hang out with really. That's pretty much how that is. Mm-hmm. But I still continued exercise science there, but schooling was all online. So therefore it was even harder for me to figure out, what do I want to do? Because you couldn't shadow, you couldn't do anything, and you were pretty much teaching yourself everything. You were paying to go to school to teach yourself because of COVID. And so that's when I started getting thoughts like, man, what am I even doing school for? Yeah. And so I go through a relationship the second semester of my first year at Ole Miss. That relationship ended up turning into one where I am abused mentally and physically. I'm a very soft teddy bear like person, open-hearted, will take care of anybody. I got very taken advantage of, found out the girl was living pretty much, if you watch a TV show with 2 lives, she was living 2 lives. And I had no idea. So I went through that, got the heck beat out of me in the middle of a prep, had some bruised ribs. And so then ended up leaving her. And this is when I was getting ready for USA's last year. First national show. I was probably 9-10 weeks out when that happened. And so got out of that, got away. And that's when like I was like, all right, Mississippi's not for me. These people are not for me. This town's not for me. So I've got to get out. So first, you want me to go from there? So we'll make sure.
You keep going, okay, man. That's absolutely fine.
Make sure I'm staying in the order you want.
You're good. You're good, man.
First thing after that, I'm like, all right, so I'm prepping for USA's. It's a big show, first national show. So I'm really focused on that. And then I, believe it or not, my girlfriend now, who's my rock, so the night that with my ex-girlfriend and her beating me, that happened at midnight at night. I woke up the next day, went to work at GNC, literally that day, like 8 hours later, after all that happened, she's texting me about her bodybuilding coach, like, and literally after that, it was meant to be. We've been together ever since. Literally, she came in and was like a rock for me during that time, finishing prep. So every other weekend, I was driving 4.5 hours here and 4.5 hours back just to come see her and just be out of Mississippi in general. And this is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay. Which I've known about this place forever. Same thing with Nashville, Tennessee area. It's fitness, bodybuilding in general is huge up here. Because obviously you've got Brandon Curry. I work out at his gym every day. So going from there, finishing prep last year, I come live up here the last 2 weeks with her because I was like, I want to treat it like a camp. I'm trying to finish getting ready for USA's. I want to be the best I could be. So I ended up jumping in a show 2 days before because I saw it, and it was Greater Valley, and the one Trey did this year. Trey Adoc did it. That show is probably the most memorable show I'll ever have as of right now. Will Wise is the promoter. He's very much about the athlete. And so I go there. I ended up winning my class. I jumped in as a light heavy because I didn't want to like make weight. And honestly, last year I was way behind in prep being ready. I jumped as a light heavy. I actually looked the best I had looked for myself. I competed against Owen. I can't remember his last name, but it's Cameron Cheeks guy. So I lost the overall to Owen, but I ended up getting the Dallas McCarver Award there, which is like a very honorable award that Will Wise does and hands out. And I was very blessed to receive that award. And that right there, doing that show, feeling the environment of the crowd and just up there battling for an overall, that like, it stuck with me. It was a big loss as well too at the time, because obviously I was a week out from USA's. I thought I should be walking into any show and just like be right there battling for it no matter what. But it was the best loss that I've ever taken, because that's when I started thinking, okay, if I can't get right there and like be peaked ready almost a week out from USA's, that's a problem. And so that's when I started considering the coaching swap. But I went ahead and went on to finish USA's. I got 11th, I think it was 20 guys in middleweights. I ended up making weight, shockingly enough, because believe it or not, the day after Greater Valleys, I was 179 pounds. I was right there, 3 pounds away from middleweight weight cap. Going into peak week, things weren't run well, and I went up to 189 the day before weigh-ins when I landed in Phoenix at USA's. Literally, we dropped all the way down to 173 in 24 hours. Wow. Not with Lasix, of course, and stuff like that. Not fun. Never will want to do that again. Not that much, at least. We made it. We did the show. I looked presentable and worthy of being on that stage, but I did not look like a national competitor. Was not ready. I'd have been better off leaving USA's alone and taking an off season, but didn't. So, but yeah, I mean, that was where that ended, and that was last year in July. It was a fun year. I learned a lot. And then right after that show, 2-week notice, I was like, my girlfriend finally said she wanted me to move up here. I was like, all right, this is my ticket out of Mississippi. I just have to find a job. So luckily, Brent Laffey, who owns Armada Nutrition, the supplement manufacturer company I was working at, he's probably the only reason I got the start I did with a job and stuff like that and moving up here. I am forever thankful for that man. He has done so much for me. So I ended up going there. I moved up here 2-week notice, packed all my stuff, my little Hyundai Elantra, didn't even bring furniture, just came up here. I was like, all right, this is it, I'm going. And I moved up here and I worked and just did that. Went through off season, and off season did not go as planned as I would like. My previous coach was somebody who likes to get super heavy in the off season and way too over high in body fat. So I was sitting at solid 225 in January, and it was not a pretty 225. It was very crappy. And so I started prep in January for not for nationals, for USA's. I started for USA's with my previous coach. I ended up dieting down all the way to about 205. Then that's when I started realizing like his personal life was taking an effect on mine. And I couldn't respect him anymore. So that's when I was like, all right, I got to find a new coach. So going back to Greater Valley last year, obviously I have been watching Cameron Cheek after Owen beat me since last year. Cameron was nailing clients left and right, peaking them to perfection. And I was like, how in the heck is he doing this so well? And so I ended up shooting him a message on Instagram, asking him if he would take over my prep, I could hire him. Luckily he did. But then luckily for me, Cameron being such a good coach he was, I had already been in prep since January. This is April 5th when I got with him. Cameron looked over all my protocols and stuff. He saw that I had been in prep on cycle for already 14 weeks. And he looked at it and he was like, there's no way I'm letting you do USAs. He's like, I'm not running you on a cycle that long. He said, your previous coach Mike was going to do that, but I'm not. And I was like, okay. I was like, tell me what to do. Let's do it. I was like, because if it means health and keeping me safe and then bringing my best, I'll do whatever it takes. I've always been that person in sport. As long as it doesn't kill me, I will gladly do whatever it takes. So we take a step back. Cameron, now he has 35 weeks with me is what it is until nationals at this point. I'm already at a point in prep from my previous prep where I was like 2,300 calories a day, 45 minutes cardio every day. I was already like low on food. We had nowhere to go. So we had to go the other way. So he started doing his thing. We took, I think it was right at 15 weeks. The first 4, we finished out a cycle. Then we went to a health phase. And in that whole time, Cam had me losing weight while eating more. We worked my calories all the way up to 4,000 calories in a health phase. And I was doing minimal cardio. I was doing like 12 minutes, 3 days a week. And I was just getting better and better. My physique was just coming to life, getting to where it needed to be. Then we started prep right around 20 weeks out. And I mean, the rest is history to where I'm at now. Like Cam has changed my whole bodybuilding career. There was a missing piece I needed last year, and it was a coach that could get me to that next level, because I've had the dedication, the work ethic, the drive to do whatever. I mean, I'll follow a diet year round. I mean, I've been in prep since January, literally, because when I got with Cameron, there was no free meals. There was no going out to eat. It was business time. So I've been in prep since January this year. And I will say that I would do it again 1,000 times for where I'm at right now, what I look like and how I feel in prep. Like, I'm not suffering that bad right now. I'm still eating more than I would be almost in my normal off seasons of my previous coach. And I am, 7 weeks out as of tomorrow. So, I mean, Cam has changed my life in so many ways more than bodybuilding, my mindset, everything. I literally am mentally and physically unbreakable at this point with everything he's taught me, having him behind me. I mean, he has been a blessing. I mean, things like, this podcast, like I'm a small town kid from Mississippi. Like, I don't really get noticed that much on Instagram. Like, I've had so many top coaches reach out to me and, give me compliments. And I've had so many other people in the industry give me compliments. And like, these things wouldn't happen if I wasn't under Cam. Like, I've had so many great things happen this year, and it's a blessing. And honestly, it comes down to him. It comes down to the group of friends and family I have around me. Man, I would not that's like just being here doing this podcast. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm still in shock.
Well, you know what, Bart, don't be in shock, because I'm a small town Iowa kid myself, man. So I look around at some of these other which I don't really pay attention to a lot of other bodybuilding podcasts, because I just really I think most of them are garbage, to be truthful. That's why I kind of started this one. But you do kind of look around and see, like, man, like this person's got thousands and thousands of subscribers on YouTube, and this person, and you know what? But I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay in my lane. I'm gonna do my thing, and we'll see what happens. And I think that's just a great attitude and a great perspective to have, because if you put your head down, if you put in the work, I tell people all the time, hard work always pays off, right?
It does.
And that's the way I want to live my life. And it sounds like that's the way that you want to live your life. And it's cool. It's good, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's the only way to do it.
For sure. Okay. Now, since we're at talking about coaching and Cam and all that, I want to pull some more information out of you about that, and then we're gonna take a step back. But now in terms of Cam, obviously he's been on the podcast. I just had one of his other clients and athletes on. I just released it this morning. I've had a lot of his clients and athletes on. I respect what he's doing. I see what he's doing with his clients and athletes. It's obviously You know, awesome work. Now, in terms of your previous coach and Cam kind of taking over this year's prep and stuff,
Yeah.
what were a couple things that immediately Cam changed or implemented to kind of get you on the right track where you're at right now in prep for nationals?
Well, the first thing I want to mention is doing blood work consistently. My old coach, I used to get blood work maybe once a year, and it was not a full panel. And I didn't know it wasn't a full panel because at this point, I didn't know anything about blood work until Cam. I've learned a lot from Cam in that aspect, but I've gotten more labs done this year than I have my whole career, which I didn't start the enhanced route until about 21. I did it naturally for 3 years. So having Cam be that person that cares that much, it has meant more than anything to me. And that has been one of the biggest differences, I think, as well, because he knows exactly what's going on with my body and how to respond to things and what moves he needs to make as a coach to get my body to do certain things. The other thing is obviously I think his whole method, or I guess method, or just ways he does things as a whole are more efficient. Because there's so many ways to skin a cat or a deer. Like I can't say, I will say for me, they are better. And that's the thing for me. He was the best fit for me as a coach. I didn't know it was this good of a fit going in, but when I handed him my full trust and said, here, do your thing, tell me what to do, and I will do it to a T. And it has literally, I didn't think my physique would look like it does right now until another 2 to 3 years, honestly. The things he does, like cardio, like I literally have touched, I think right now I'm doing 650 calories a day. He does it by calories, which I love because it's like you can get it done faster. I get on the elliptical, it takes me 40 minutes. I do like 350 calories in the AM, 300 post workout, 5 days a week. I'm only doing 5 days of cardio. Never in preps. Normally I'm doing about 1.5 to 2 hours at this point and eating like nothing, like 2,000 calories. I'm eating like 2,700 calories right now. And like, that's with me having like 800 carb refeed days. When he sent me my refeed day the first time, I was like, bro, 4,600 calories to refeed. I was like, I would have like, cause I've never had that. And so I've had that at least like since 12 weeks out, at least once, twice a week. Nice. And I mean, I'm not like, usually my suffering level like that. I think that's why I take the way he preps. It's easy for me because before I was doing 2 hours of plus cardio, 1,300, 1,500 calories with my previous coach, like 6-7 weeks out. And I was freaking like just dead, but it was like a dead feeling but my body wasn't going where it should because I was so dead. My body was giving out. As we're with Cam, my body's fresh. My knees don't hurt. I'm still lifting heavy. I'm still hitting PRs in the gym. I mean, everything it's more efficient and best for me is the best way I could put it.
Okay. Awesome, man. Yeah. I'm, shout out to Cam. I'm sure he's probably going to watch this. Super cool dude. And again, just, really, really excited to kind of see him continue to, grow and expand, as a coach and doing all the great work he does with all of you athletes. Now, I want to take a step back here, Bart. Now, you said at one of these competitions that you did, you got this Dallas McCarver award, and you said that meant a lot to you. Now, most people that are watching and listening to this, we know who Dallas McCarver is. But what was that award? You didn't really expound on that. What was that award that you got? What did it symbolize, or what did it mean getting that award?
So it was like a memorial of like Dallas McCarver, like an honorable award, like basically like to say that like somebody is like, if you get this reward, you are driven, you're like Dallas, like you're gonna go do things, you're gonna work hard, you're gonna do everything it takes, like that kind of award. And to receive that when Will Wise, because like he just met me the night before the show, night before the show and the night of. And after talking to me for 30 minutes to an hour, like backstage, he decided I was the one that deserves to receive that award. That was because I know what Dallas McCarver was like. He was somebody like I just watched. I didn't get to watch much because obviously like I didn't get bodybuilding until late. And in his era, at least. So, I mean, but going back and watching videos and seeing how he worked and it's just like, that was a big compliment as well as like just very like memorable thing to happen in my life, especially in my bodybuilding career.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now I want to ask you, Bart, you know, what is it about bodybuilding that you feel like has really like pulled you in? You said earlier that you just have kind of fallen in love or enjoy the process. So what is it specifically about bodybuilding? Kind of like when you were like just starting to lifting weights for bodybuilding and kind of dabbling in it, you did your first show. What was that thing or a couple of things that really pulled you in and has kept you kind of on the straight and narrow, so to speak, in terms of the bodybuilding lifestyle?
I think it's more than anything, the feeling that I can be better every single day I wake up. I have something to work towards every single day. And like, it's endless because bodybuilding, until you like retire, like you can always be better every single day. There's things you can do. And so, I mean, I think I'm addicted to that side of I can be better every day. I can do this, I can do that better. Like there's always something. I can bring a better physique this year. I can bring it in the next, and the next. Like, I think that aspect of things is like, it's endless opportunities to be better. And I think I will say from year to year, the mental health that you grow and things. And as you grow mentally and physically, I think the growth from year to year, I know I look back and reflect on it a lot. If you looked at me last year, mentally and physically, I was nowhere near where I am now. Like, far as mental now, like there's nothing that bothers me. There's nothing that, I'm just at the point where like literally I'm unbreakable mentally and physically at this point. So I think the growth from year to year, a lot of people need to go back and reflect on it and look at how far they've come, because I'm young and I've been doing this 5 years now. Yeah. And so I mean, the growth from my first year to now, it's insane. I mean, not just the physical growth, the mental growth is the biggest thing. Growing up as a person, and bodybuilding, I think, structures life, and it structures you and teaches you so many other things that most people aren't going to learn, especially not at a young age like I'm at. Like, they're not going to learn that early and that quick, just from like working a job and things like that. I think bodybuilding is really good for just the structure of living and teaching you so many different things. Obviously it's not for everybody, but it's a great thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, now let's get back into this prep specifically. Well, actually, let's talk about USA's last year in 2021.
Okay.
That was your first national competition. You said you kind of had like you feel like you could have looked a lot better, but it is what it is. It was an experience. Was it pretty cool for you though to be up there on a national pro qualifying stage? Talk about how big of a step that was for you.
It was a huge step because I had only competed at like pretty much local Mississippi shows. And I'm going to be honest, Mississippi shows aren't the biggest. They don't have the most competition every time. So to get up there my first national stage and even place 11th out of 20, it was a pretty big deal for me, just because of the fact that like I made it there at 20. I wasn't even 23. I was 22 at that point, because I hadn't even turned 23 yet. I was 22 on a national stage. And I was up there competing. So I mean, to not be like anywhere near, dead last, that was a huge deal for me, because honestly, a week out, I didn't think I was going to make it. I did not think I was going to make it at all, because things were going so wrong with the previous coach, and like things were happening and they just weren't efficient. But I made it, and I placed well for me, especially for first show. Anybody should be proud, especially if they're young, their first national show. You should be proud of that placing if it's like that. I mean, because national shows are tough. They're a whole different level. That's when I learned that amateur to national, it's a bigger difference than most people realize until you get up there and do it. And I think everybody should get up there and do it and see where they're at, because if they don't know, they need to do it and find out, because it's a whole different level.
Okay, now let's talk about this prep then leading into nationals. You've kind of already touched on like the cardio and things like that. Talk to us a little bit about your actual weight training. What's your split been? What have you kind of been focusing on in terms of bringing up lagging body parts? And then talk a little bit about what your goal is at nationals this year.
So pretty much lagging body parts, my back, which for me was shocking when Cam said that, because my previous coach, he never told me that. And I think my previous coach is more of like a hype man than somebody who would tell me straightforward. And I think that was obviously an issue in itself. But I feel like when he told me that, I started deadlifting right away. Cam gave me this goal. He wanted me to hit 455 pounds for 16 reps by 8 weeks out. I hit it for 15 and a half so far, because I've gotten so depleted and fatigued, but we've gotten real close. We're still going to try and hit it. But it's little things like that where he gives me strength goals and stuff like that that helps me. My split right now is pretty much, it's a push, pull, off, pull, delts, arms, and then quads, arms, with another off day. So I started splitting my leg days up 12 weeks, maybe, no, it's probably 10 weeks out. And the reason for it is because my legs is my biggest body part. So every time I would hit them, I mean, because I was hack squatting, loads of weight, leg pressing loads of weight. And so I'm able to move a lot of weight on legs. And every time I would do it, my legs would get so inflamed, they couldn't recover. And so I talked to Cam. I was like, hey, what do you think about if we split it up? Like I do some hamstring glute work on a pull day, and then I do quads on another day. And he was like, go for it. He's like, if you think you'll recover better, he's like, go for it. Because sadly enough, I'm doing my own training. So that's but luckily Cam is like, I'm thankful he's willing to look over it and monitor it with me, because he has taught me a lot with training. This is the first year I've trained low volume, high intensity, and it's working really dang well.
Nice. So what's your goal going into nationals this year, Bart?
Definitely a pro card.
Okay.
Definitely a pro card.
You gonna win your class, or are you just satisfied with second place in your class?
I want to win my class for sure. That's the goal. So I mean, I don't know if you know, but I was a middleweight last year. I will be a welterweight this year.
Okay.
I will be dropping another 20 pounds in the next 7 weeks to make weight. Pretty much it's about 13 pounds of fat and 5 pounds of water. What it's going to come down to is what we're thinking. We'll see, wherever the best looks at, pretty much. I just pretty much at this point, I don't worry about the weight. I let Cam worry about it, and I just do my thing.
So do you kind of pay attention to some of the other guys that you might be competing against on Instagram, or do you kind of just stay focused on your own thing?
I mean, I haven't seen any other welterweights. I have not heard of any. I mean, I can imagine there's not that, because I know welterweights, it's like 165 pounds. There's not that many guys competing at that. And I don't know anybody doing it. Even if I did, it wouldn't, I'm gonna be somebody that's like, look, all I can do at the end of the day is bring my best, perfect every single day up to the show. It's up to the judges on stage. If I know all my variables posing, which luckily I hired Josiah, Grass-Fed Fitness on Instagram, for posing. Man, posing is not gonna be a problem. Like this year, I'm checking every single box. There's not gonna be one thing left to do, and that's all I can do, and let the judges decide the rest.
For sure. Spoken like a true veteran bodybuilder, Bart.
I try.
Now we're gonna start wrapping things up, but before we do, what's your long-term future competitive bodybuilding goal for yourself, Bart?
To be honest with you, get 212 Pro Olympia.
Okay, cool.
That's my goal. Win a couple if I can.
By what age would you like to be on the Olympia stage for 212?
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna go on a limb and say me and Cam can do it by 29, 30 years old.
Okay.
5 years, 4 or 5 years.
I think that's reasonable. That's fair. That's
Well, the way Cam, because I haven't had a proper off season yet, and Cam only had 15 weeks of like it was prep, but it was technically an off season eating, and that was without any of the enhancements and things like that. And I put on tissue, so I can't imagine when we have a full off season. Because after this, no matter what, whether pro card or not, we're taking 18 months off to grow. So I think with Cam, it's possible, only because I'm with Cam. I think that.
You gotta get some shirts made in Cam We Trust. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm here for it.
All right. Do you spend much time on YouTube or not really?
To be honest with you, I do, because first thing in the morning, especially like Thursdays and Tuesdays, I have like some clients that I coach online. So I'll do check-ins and then like watch podcasts and things like that. And I don't do any YouTubing yet because I have nobody to film me. I'd love to, but I don't know how to work a camera and I don't really have time to drag a camera around yet. But I do try to get a lot of content through Instagram and TikTok, because obviously those are two outlets I can use pretty easily right now to get just my name out there and get some views and stuff. But
what are some of the go-to YouTube channels that you pay attention to?
A lot of them are like anything with Matt Jansen on it, J3 University, John Jewett. Man, I'm trying to think. There's a couple. I mean, Justin Mahaley is one that I've listened to since COVID. His podcast, it is amazing. Dominic Kuza, I know Cam is real good buddies with him. He's one of the guys that I'll listen to. That's pretty much about it. There's probably more, but you never know.
Any bodybuilders YouTube channels that you like to watch?
To be honest with you, Hunter Labrada is one of the main ones that I watch training wise, because he trains just like I'm trying to. I'll watch some of Derek Lunsford's, but there's not really, I watch training every now and then. I more or less watch it when I'm like, all right, I need to learn something new. Right now I'm at a point where training, like I'm just keeping what I'm doing right now and progressing it, but I'm always trying to learn more. So whenever it comes across a video where there's hypertrophy coach is a good one. That's one of my main ones that I use. But there's a lot out there. There's just so many to choose from.
For sure. All right. Now you've done some personal training and you just mentioned having some online clients. Now, is that kind of like career-wise, Bart, you want to kind of intertwine the competing, being an IFBB Pro at some point, and the coaching, and kind of go in the direction of like Cam and some of these other coaches, like more online, and kind of like move in that direction? Is that kind of your long-term vision for your career?
That's one of them for sure. I love the process of coaching people. Like I've put 4 or 5 clients on stage. One is class, one won a whole overall and true novice and novice classes. And then I had my best friend Ryan that I was talking about, I put in a show. He did classic the first time. He got good placings. My buddy Graham, he got good placings. And buddy Carson I put in show, he got some good placings. It's pretty much more or less people I know personally that I've coached. And mainly I start out that way because you don't want to start out doing too much, because obviously, like, I probably started sooner coaching somebody than I should have. I would say probably up until last year I was ready to coach, but I started a year too soon. I think I should have spent a little more time learning. And as of right now, like my learning, like that's my main focus, like obviously because I've got such a good coach over me for somebody to learn from, but also just learning from everyone I can, because I mean, there's so much knowledge out here and everybody can lean on everybody and learn. And that's the cool thing that I love about like Cam's friend coaching circle, like him having Justin, Jacoby, like he's got so many coaches around him that they all lean on each other. Him having Matt, like that's a huge part. I mean, it's a really cool thing, and that's like how all coaches should be, because everybody should want everybody to be at their best. And that's the fun part about bodybuilding.
Right. Cool, man. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Bart, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you have any final thoughts, any final words, anything that you want to leave with us, make sure you give us your Instagram. The platform's yours, man. And then I'll do a quick outro. So you share anything that you want in closing.
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing me on. Appreciate it more than anything. Thanks, Cam, for everything. Literally, you were the man. Thanks for my girlfriend for putting up with me so much in prep. And then thank you to just everyone that I have in my corner right now that supports me, because I have so much positivity. Instagram is going to be Bart Tompkins, literally just straight, no underscores, just whole name together on Instagram. And that's pretty much it.
Cool, man. All right, Bart, we'll be looking forward to watching you and seeing what happens at Nationals, man. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your bodybuilding story. Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yep. You're very welcome, man. All of you who are tuning in to another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much to all of you. Here, as we wrap up this great conversation with Bart today, I just have a couple favors to ask. If you have not hit that subscribe button yet on YouTube, make sure you please do that. And also take this episode with Bart, share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Bart, tag his coach, Cameron Cheek, and then also make sure you tag Behind the Muscle podcast. When you guys share these episodes on Instagram, it's a great way for people that haven't come across BTM yet to find Behind the Muscle podcast. They're going to watch, they're going to listen, and they're going to be positively impacted. And that's really my desire, my heart's desire in bringing on these elite athletes and coaches and having them share their life stories and their bodybuilding stories, is that people are going to watch, people are going to listen, and some way, somehow, somebody's going to be positively impacted through these people's stories. So make sure you are sharing this episode and other episodes of BTM that you watch and listen on your Instagram stories. It's greatly appreciated. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.